The Chancellor has ordered an inquiry into the collapse of Britain's oldest merchant bank.
It appears to be a specific incident unique to Barings, centred on one rogue trader in Singapore.
I'm Nick Leeson, and 20 years ago I was headline news. I spent 4.5 years in prison, and a movie was even made of my life.
That's what I love about Asia. Anyone can make it. It doesn't matter which stupid school you went to.
My irresponsible actions brought down Barings Bank, and I'll forever be known as the rogue trader. Today, I live in Galway in the west of Ireland, and I'm giving my life lecture to a group of finance and economics students at the university here. But first, I'm going back to where it all began. This is Watford High Street. I was born and raised here. My dad was a plasterer, my mother was a nursing assistant. You know, she was probably the driving force or the motivation for me to try and go on and better myself in life. With her encouragement, I got a job at Coutts & Co, the Queen's Bank. I was 18 when I arrived here in Lombard Street, you know, fresh from Watford. It's always strange coming back to this area. You know, it harks back to a time when I was embarking on a career that I wanted to succeed at.
Okay, it's like 80 billion at 36.
The biggest lesson that I would have learnt in the city was that there was lots of opportunity. That combined with this exalted opinion of what success actually looked like was a cocktail that was going to go out of control. I was restless, changing jobs and moving up the career ladder until I reached here in 1989. This is 8 Bishopsgate, the former home of Barings Bank, the 233-year-old institution that I brought to its knees. My job was to gamble on the ups and downs of the stock market, and I was good at it. I got the success and opportunities I'd been striving for when Barings made me general manager of their Singapore office at the age of 25. It's extremely competitive, it's extremely exciting. The markets are moving all of the time, so you're always at your wit's end trying to work out what's going to happen next. And it was on one of these occasions, probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that I realised that we had a discrepancy and needed to do something about it. I had a loss of £10,000, but didn't tell my bosses in London. Instead, I tried to get the money back the only way I knew how: gambling on the stock market. I wasn't coping particularly well. Every day you're waiting for a knock on the door. Probably towards the end of 1994, it dawned on me that it was a fairly forlorn attempt to rectify the situation. But still, I couldn't tell anybody what was going on. By February 1995, the loss had ballooned to £862 million. When I left Singapore on the 23rd of February, it was just fight or flight. 3 days later, Barings Bank ceased trading. I was eventually charged with 11 counts of cheating and 1 count of forgery. I mean, the whole period is my lowest point. When I look back, you know, it will always be the most embarrassing period of my life because it's the complete opposite of what I wanted to do. I wanted to be successful. I'll always be remembered for my biggest failure. That was 20 years ago, but today I want to tell the students here in Galway the biggest lesson that I learnt from the mistakes I made. You can't exist in an environment where people are scared of making mistakes. Because when you're scared of making mistakes, what happens sometimes is that people conceal them. When I was confronted by something that I couldn't cope with, I didn't do the most simple thing, and that was ask for help and advice. For me, it was a sign of weakness when I was 25. But that's not the way that you should look at it. It's a sign of wanting to do things correctly, and I encourage everybody to do that. I'm sure all of you are going to make mistakes in life, and I hope they're all small ones. And genuinely, I think you're only ever confronted by what you have the ability to cope with. I can't tell you where to find it, but it's in there somewhere. Thank you very much.
Well, we haven't exactly broken the bank with our game show prize tonight.